Good evening.
Good evening, Priyanka.
How are you today?
Wonderful. As
And it's
always,
wonderful as always. And the Delhi cold is still keeping you wonderful
yes, it's keeping me warm indoors, that's for sure.
indoors. So it's a Thursday. We're talking about how we own our future, and we're talking back at the Own Your Future show, a space that is being built for you so that you always have somebody to turn to. Conversations, power nuggets, studies, toolkits, insights, learning management systems, and a lot more that is being done so that you can own your future. Today we have a very interesting guest, but before that, I'll request Raji for the power nugget.
Well, Priyanka, interestingly, as always, going with what our show is all about and what we really stand for, today's show is about web presence. So I'm going to talk about something interesting about some data points around it. We all talk about marketing and digital marketing, and something interesting just popped up to me, and I thought I'll share this today. Well, customization, as we all know, is key to digital engagement and marketing. And some data points, interesting ones. 72% of shoppers act only when messages are of their interest. Well, interest and customization go hand in glove. It doesn't end there. Conversion rate improved by 63% and visitor engagement jumped by 55%. All this is part of a Salesforce survey that was conducted. And there are many more insights into this. What this only says is that the more you engage, the more you customize, the more you work on the consumer, I think the media presence and the digital world becomes that much more exciting. I think today we're going to talk about a lot about that space, and we have a wonderful guest around who's going to walk us through with some of his experiences. And an important question to ask is, are businesses really listening? Are people really making what is really there in that? Priyanka, why don't you just introduce our guest for today and we'll take it from there?
I'll introduce my guest first. I'll kind of you talked about something which is extremely close to heart. So I think what digital does is to be able to give you the tool so that you're able to track your interests. I think that's the large change that digital brings to us. Before I introduce my guest, I'll introduce my show, and we're calling it the Own Your Future show. Good evening to Mr. Rajiv one more time, and a very good evening to Kushal, who's joining us today from. Kushal, where are we joining you from?
Hi, very good evening, Priyanka and Rajiv sir. Glad you invited me on the show. Own Your Future. First of all, like the title, the name of your show is so awesome that it motivates just by listening and reading it. It's awesome.
So, to Kushal, I'd please like request. So, my big apologies for lack of my ignorance, but which city are we joining together from today?
I am. You're asking about me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just lost you in between. That's why I repeated the
Oh, I'm
question.
so sorry.
Uh, that's a network issue. I'm from a place called Dandeli, which is located in Karnataka, India. Right. So it's in a deep forest, and like I live in a heart of greenery with all the wild animals and of course humans as well.
So, please let's expect some local wildlife to drop by, say hi for tea, maybe.
Yes, sure, sure, sure.
Yeah. So I want to introduce Kushal, but more importantly, I want to introduce the work he's doing, and I feel he represents what is a paradigm shift to how we can function as individuals, as professionals, but our business is listening. Kushal lives in a small town, and maybe over the course we'll get a better sense of where this place is located. But I've been to deep heart of India, into the coffee estates and many small places, and I want to highlight the fact to everybody who's listening is that there is a vibrant economy that already does exist there. So we city people know very little about how the ground level economy functions. And we'll learn more about that from Kushal. Kushal, why don't you introduce yourself and your work? But I'd like you to start with how you grew up and right up to the first time you made a choice regarding profession. Just the first one.
Right. The first one, in the sense like entrepreneur journey, or my complete job, or just to
The
have a
first
clarity.
choice you made after you felt that okay, now it's time to start earning money. So the first
Yeah.
choice that you made that time and how you
Okay.
got there.
Okay. So first of all, like as Priyanka said, I'm from a small town. Okay. It's just a population of around 48-50,000, and yes, the works the life here is awesome, because we have everything available, right? The things which are available, let me be clear, we have a life here. We have everything that is needed to, lead a good life. I'm not talking about only luxuries, the needs what a perfect human being needs. We are, as I said, we are leading a good life here, with a great internet, with a awesome branded laptops, with surrounding of, greeneries and everything. And people here are really awesome, supportive. And coming to the next question, and I would like to add something here, like this is particularly for people who are thinking that nothing can be done from a small town. Few days back, almost in last year, there were scenarios that everything had shifted to digital, right? The schools were running online, and there were many towns who literally didn't get internet. But students out there, we can't expect farmers to catch internet and go on a hilltop to farming, right? But there were students who were literally climbing the hill, going to a point where they used to get the internet just for to complete the syllabus. Can't you think the same child can go to the same spot, without leaving his own village, and earn in huge millions? That's just about thinking in a different way, right? So internet has made life easy, you know giving a chance to stay with your loved ones, dear ones, with them, and yes, earning money. So now the moment, yeah, Priyanka, I think you were
So
about to
I
tell
want to
something.
hear about your childhood and how and maybe the hill and jumping into the
Yeah,
water.
actually, I'm completely born and brought up in this place. I never went out of this place. I have of course like went to Rome. I have traveled the places, but I never went out of this place to earn money. I born here. My whole education started and ended up here. Although I'm learning every day now, but my graduation is from this place, and I'm known in this place for whatever I do. In almost like 2009, I completed my graduation. 2010 was my first initial point where when I started earning through a job. We have an industry here, paper industry, which is well known. I'm sorry for that, right? And but after, there are many there are many people who have a mindset of, no, I am not a job material. Almost like nowadays everyone is like, I'm not a job material, I'm not a job material. Even the same feeling I had. And but my salary was too low. Then opted for master degree during my education service itself. In 2014-15, I went for my master degree, completing my shifts and then going to evening classes to the college and everything that used to happen. But my father started a side business, which I loved the most. That's where I actually started earning. 2014 and 15. That was my turning point. That made my mindset completely a mindset of businessman. I started thinking like a creative person, how I can go deep and deep into that. That's where I can say that 2010 was not the earning point. 2014-15 was my earning point and changing point of my life.
Interesting. I think you talk about a very fascinating path of an experience of a small town, an ability to live your life on your own terms. And I use that word very consciously because when you say that you're living a life, I think you live a life only if you live it on your own terms, right? And that's
Yes.
something that I can sort of feel into when you're describing about what and how you sort of are experiencing what you were talking about here. And then you talk about this interesting shift around uh, your growing up in that town, your ability to study there, your ability to get into a job, and then get into something to do with business, and a shift that happened with you internally. But somewhere that I gather from the work that you do today and the activities that you're engaged in, marketing seems to have become central to a lot of the things that you do at this point in time. So it'll be interesting to know that how did this young Kushal from this small town became fascinated by marketing, and what really got you into uh, the so-called, for want of a better word, the jargon of marketing. Let me use that for this point in time.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the reason I will be very frank. More than money, when I started the traditional business, which my dad had started, you know, people started knowing me. Now this happens that even if I don't carry my wallet, or I just walk out in my shorts to market and I don't have money in my pocket, I can work out the things with my face or my name, right?
Hmm.
So that started attracting me more than money. I have done some things where money didn't work, but my name or my face has worked. You can
Hmm.
understand, right? You are getting me point, right?
Hmm.
There
Yeah,
are some
yeah,
places where money don't work at all,
right.
right? If you, like, I'm a billionaire and I say that, yeah, take out money and just do this,
Hmm.
it can hurt the attitude and ego of that person, right? But at the
Right.
same point, there's a person who don't have money and he's like, hey sir, like, I request you to do this, is it okay for you to do? There's a difference, right? So that the second scenario attracted me a lot.
Hmm.
People started recognizing me. I said, like, this is the thing, man. This is the thing. When you have nothing, there must be people standing behind you. When you
Hmm.
have everything, obviously there will be people standing behind you, just the greedy people, or maybe don't I don't know what word to use, but selfish people, I can say.
Hmm.
But the reality of your name and your work will be identified only when you have nothing and people are
Hmm.
still standing behind you.
Hmm.
That would
Hmm.
make a greater impact on
Hmm.
our life, and as well as you can motivate some or the other person, right? So
Hmm.
that's what started, and that was the only way business started giving me.
Hmm.
So I started
Hmm.
involving more and more and more, and almost after 4 and 5 years, there was some challenge that entered into my life.
Hmm.
Actually, that was already standing in my life. I met that challenge that day, and
Hmm.
then things started. I had to drop out my business. Then slowly I had to drop out my job as well, and suddenly the lockdown came. A stressful, almost 13 months of stress without earning anything, and I started spending money. My expenses increased rather than
Hmm.
getting the earnings. My expenses increased,
Hmm.
and after that, that was the point. Almost November. Yeah, this is the exact date. Like, I guess 19th November is the date when I decided to enter into the world of digital. It's
Hmm.
tomorrow, right? It's almost a 1 year tomorrow. It will be 1 year tomorrow.
Hmm.
So 19th November, I decided, okay, there's nothing left. I should go with digital. It's
Hmm.
actually, it would be wrong if I say there is nothing left. There
Hmm.
is always a way. We just need to, understand that what works for you and what is not for you.
Hmm.
19th November, that started changing everything. So that's how
So
I'm
what
deep
changed?
into
So what
digital.
changed?
Actually, yeah, that's a nice question. I started meeting with right people. That's what changed. You know,
Okay.
as I said, money is not everything. Money will never be everything. Obviously, it will be easy to get most of the thing, but not everything. Right? I started making connections after this date. After almost, like, actually, to be very frank, I met one person in the month of August.
Hmm.
September, October, I met someone else who made
Hmm.
me to push, who made me to enter into the world of digital.
Hmm.
I was totally the person who never wanted to enter into the digital platform. I was totally against, even while I was even when I had a chance to choose between engineering and something else. I was like, नहीं, मेरे को computer system में जाना ही नहीं.
Hmm.
I was like that way.
That
But
makes it
Hmm.
worse.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and that's what came in front of me, and that's what I'm doing today. He told me, yeah, digital is the only option. Start learning some skills.
Hmm.
I entered the program which Priyanka was just talking about, the
Hmm.
digital program. I entered into that. Again, I was stressed there. I don't say it
Hmm.
was easy, although I was
Hmm.
doing many things there, completing the completion of assignments. But more than that, I was making good connections,
Hmm.
and that slowly started connecting the dots. The
Hmm.
first person in August, the second person in September, then in almost November, third person, then January, the fourth person, then May, the fifth person, and that's how Kushal is created. The
Very good. In fact, before I request Priyanka to sort of share some of her thoughts, the two interesting points that come to my mind based on what you just described, and I feel very inclined to sort of share them. You speak about money. You speak about the importance of how people keep money at the center of things. I have a very simple example of this, and I just thought I'll just share that with you here. And it so
yes,
beautifully resonates with what you were saying, and that's the reason I'm sort of trying to bring this up. Uh,
mhm,
there's a very simple saying that the more you run after something, the more it runs away from you,
exactly,
right? And a living
exactly,
example that everybody experiences is what I'm going to describe. And as I always say, everybody is allowed to laugh at it. But the reality is that imagine running after a dog, right? What will happen? The dog is going to run away from you. The dog is never going to come to you. So money is exactly like that. The more you run
exactly,
after it, the more it will run away from you. The more you're at peace with
exactly,
yourself and wait for the right moment for the right things and build your ability and the vibes to attract the dog to you, the dog will come to you. You can pet it then. And then it will be there
exactly.
for, with you for life. So it's sort of it's a very different perspective, but I think it's something which is very real, and we most of the time we tend to forget that. So
Exactly.
I'm very glad that you sort of brought it up. And the second point, which sort of very intriguing and very interesting that you brought about, is about when all doors close, there is always a door open.
Yes.
And that's something I
Oh,
want to sort of share with everybody here. The fact that when you're committing yourself to owning your future, there is never a situation of all doors closed. You just have to keep trying which door will open again. Because doors are made to open, they're not made to be able to
exactly,
stay closed.
exactly.
Right? So I think
Perfect.
that's
Perfect.
something which is there. So thanks for sharing that, and thanks for sort of walking that journey, which is never easy, but that's what life is all about. Life is not easy.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
thanks for
Like,
sharing that. Over to
yeah,
you, Priyanka.
I would add something on this. Like my
Please.
dad said this to me. When nothing works for you, there is one thing which is open for every human being. Every I claim it very clearly that door is open for everyone, and that is never closed. The door of spirituality and the path of spirituality. You know, I asked my dad once. I need a lot of money. It was like way long back. I said, my dad, I want to earn a lot of money, like millionaire, billionaire. He said, yeah, that's possible. You can do that. But I don't want to work. I said it
Hmm.
clearly. I don't want to work, but I need a lot of money. So he said, yeah, even that is possible. And I was like shocked. What are you talking about? Like, I literally turned out to my dad and, what? Are you serious? He said, yeah, that's very serious. My dad is a very spiritual turned out man, right? He talks, he gives so beautiful examples. My life, the reason of changing my life is my dad. To be very frank, no other person has changed my life to such a beautiful extent. It's only my father, right? Uh, and I just asked him, like, how is that possible? He said, surrender yourself to Almighty. Whatever you do, just do it for Him and leave it. At the end, don't expect anything. Just keep on doing. And after that, he shared me an example of it. And like, if you allow me, just I would
Please,
love to
please.
share that
Go
story.
ahead, go ahead.
He shared me a story of two person who were residing in the same town, and suddenly they got a chance to meet Almighty. The God came in front of them, both of them, and this God in a very great mood I love you both of you to ask one wish each, and he allowed first person. He said that you are free to wish something. He said, I want my life. I want my life so that in a such a way that I should never give some anything to someone, but people should give to me. God is like, okay, done, agreed. And the same way he asked the other person. The other person is like sober, in a sober way. God, I never want to ask anything from anyone. I always want to give to people. You make my life in such a way that I should always give. And God is like, okay, done. Everyone's wish is done. And the next moment, the first person turns out to be a beggar, and the second person turns out to be the richest person of that town. The reason is we never ask anything from beggar, right? We never ask anything from beggar. And he the first person has asked that people should give to me, no one should ask from me. Obviously we give something to beggar, we never ask from beggar. And the second person who asked for the wish was, he had asked, I should give always to people, and to give something there must be a backup, right? If I give daily, if I give 100 rupees to one person, I must have that balance to give. God made that balance for him, that he will never ask for anything, you will always be giving. It's always what you ask, you should be very clear and careful while asking, and God gives everything. That's what my
Got it.
dad said. That's my dad shared, that you can earn a lot of money, but you should be careful why and what you are asking for. God will make everything easy. And that blew up my mind like crazy. I was like, I can't- I'm still getting that goosebumps. I still remember the moment when I was talking to my father. That was
So I
simple.
guess that explains how you chose digital and digital mentorship as your field of choice. So describe to
Exactly.
me, what are the kind of employment opportunities that exist in a place like yours? Like, what are the kind of
Okay.
options children have?
Okay. There's a huge industry, as I said. It's a paper industry owning almost like 3 to 5 thousand employees. Okay, and which where I was working on in a industry that's like uh, it's almost running from 75 or something, 1975 something, and it's really going good. So people around here have an opportunity of getting a job there, and apart from that, businesses running over are really smooth. You have a lot of nowadays everyone is improving offline and online both the ways. So all the business opportunities are open in here. You can just start anything. So
So what?
employment
So,
is
so
not a
let's
problem.
let's hear you describe digital in your words. I understand you've gone through the part of where you were working with the paper industry, and then of course there's a lot of support from family. It makes a lot of sense to stay where you are, because a lot of people will earn a lot of money and then come and stay where you are. Like,
So
everybody
digital,
who makes a
like,
big house wants a private uh, wants a private little space for them. There should be a nice garden. Hopefully it should have a forest at the back. So let's
that
get into
describes
the
everything. That describes
yes.
everything, Priyanka. That would make no sense for building huge houses. At the
Huh,
end, it would be more like serious kind of statement. But at the end, we need only 4 by 6 of space,
correct.
right?
So how does digital so describe digital world in your words. Describe
Okay,
the work that you do, but describe digital as an opportunity for businesses in your words.
okay. I have got this sense that we open up more with strangers. Hope makes sense to you guys. We open up more easily with strangers, right? So I have learned this. Connections are more easy here. You know, you are sitting at Mumbai, I am somewhere in Dandeli, Rajiv sir at some other place, and but we are connected. The life has become so easy. You can connect, you can communicate well, and you can choose to be in connection for lifelong or do business or whatever your choice is. So digital is something where you can have the greatest exposure, greatest, no limitations. Because nowadays even money has turned to digital, right? You don't have to carry the cash in your pocket. Just go and scan, money is paid, and it's instant. Like the opponent person says, yes sir, paisa mil gaya hai. So what
Yeah.
else do I like? Money has transformed, like money has turned from the physical currency to digital currency. So I need not to explain more on digital things. At last everyone stands on money, right?
Yeah.
So
You need to pay your bills.
yeah. So you can pay
So
it
how do
anyway.
you source your business? I mean, how does it how does it work at your desk, and how are you able to source the kind of clients? Of course, you have a mentorship setup, and that is getting refined with time. But how are you sourcing your leads, and how's been the experience on that account?
Okay, as you might be knowing that I work on Facebook. Facebook is my main area of business, right? So again, internet, Facebook, Mark has created such a wonderful platform for everyone. Now people are utilizing in their own way. Someone out there is just posting a selfie, and someone out there is just created an account not using, and people like me and who are utilizing it in a proper way, making money through it. So I find leads through Facebook. I just communicate with people who are of my working area, of my niche. I try to understand what the pain they are suffering, or what is the struggle they are going through. Then try to find out the solutions, and I present it. That's how, if I just share some nuggets to them, if they feel like entering into my program, the doors are open. And if they don't feel, it's their choice. This is how I work, like just targeting the
And
perfect
how do you
audience.
service businesses? And as in, I understand you also work and support businesses who are trying to generate leads for themselves through using online. So how do you approach that topic?
No, but I'm not into any service kind of business now. I'm into only like, my service is only coaching, because like I can't do technical stuffs on screens. I have some other kind of issue with that. So I'm not concentrating on those. But yes, my service, like the coaching, is it's very easy for me. Just switching on the system,
It's
opening
possible
the
for you
Zoom.
to execute.
Yeah, it's just switching on the system. I know where the Zoom icon is, clicking on it, just sending them the link, and we are in front of each other, sharing the concept. I know where the end button is of Zoom. That's all.
Do you want to talk a little more about how you navigate the user experience and and what happens if Zoom chooses to change it, or if you come to a different platform? Do you want to
uh, yeah, obviously it will be a great struggle for me. I'll have to hire a mentor or ask
someone to
for
help
help.
out?
Yes, obviously that is my challenge, because I don't get the new things. I don't say that my mind is not ready for that, but as you know, physically there is an issue.
It's
I don't understand how it works, and without that it will be really very difficult for me to operate those. So Zoom, I'm using it from almost 1 year. I've got used to it, and if something changes, obviously I'll have to ask help from
You'll have
someone.
to ask. But I know you have a wonderful helper. I know you have the most prettiest and the most adorable helper.
Yes, I do. Thanks for mentioning
I
them.
remember that story. So, Rajiv, just to bring you up the speed on what we are talking about, Kushal's little helper is his daughter. And if you don't mind me mention, Kushal does this wonderful work, who has mastered the space with digital. He's able to make a good living for himself from where he does stay. But his challenge has been visual, and that challenge over time um, has helped him, I would say, flourish better as a father and as a professional. So with that challenge came opportunities which help him connect to the world outside using internet, and also the world within his home. So his little daughter is his helper, who I was referring to, who now takes him around. And let's not be surprised that there'll be one master of digital at the age much earlier than expected, because
Perfect.
she was helping Kushal around with the Zoom calls.
No, she does that, and I'm really proud of Uh, obviously, there are the choice is always the individuals, either to be happy or to be nervous and negative. So I chose to be happy. That's all. Although,
Yeah.
yeah, please.
So I think Kushal, there's a very powerful uh, sort of energy in what you sort of describe. Uh, the Indian culture talks about बच्चे आपकी आंखें हैं, right?
Perfect, perfect.
Right?
Like,
And 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 for me, when I hear about what you do, hear about the way you sort of describe your positivity and energy, it happens when it is from within, right? And
exactly.
I believe all these that we're talking about are just means of getting to something which is destined to happen. Uh, Before I get back to some of the things that I want to sort of speak to you more about, I just want to mention here it finally boils down to the choices that you choose to make,
Exactly.
right? And I think that's something very, very important to understand here. All of us have choices, and all of us know that we have choices. But the choices that we choose to make define who we can be and who we want to become.
Exactly.
Uh, all type of challenges exist, and a challenge for you is a big challenge for somebody else, or is a very small challenge for somebody else. It's the choice that everybody makes. And I always cite this very simple example about each one of us who experience these things. We as human beings wake up every day in the morning, and there are days where everything looks great, and there are days where the same individual sees things very bad or difficult to deal with. The only thing that has changed is the way we are looking at it, the choices we are
Exactly.
making for ourselves. So I want to recognize the fact here that the choices that you're making, the efforts that you're making, they are in the direction which is sort of your own calling and your own sort of intent of what you want to do. So uh, at the outset, I think full compliments, more power to you, and more success your way. That's coming to you from my heart, wanting
Yep.
you to be more successful. And I think that's something which is extremely positive here. Coming back to the conversation that we are having here, when you deal with clients or people that you're engaging with in your program to sort of coach them or help them do what they need to do in the digital space or in whichever space, you spoke about Facebook being uh, you being on Facebook as a method of trying to do these things, right? And that's something that you mentioned about, right?
Right.
Now, when you do that and when you sort of uh, attract clients to do the business, uh, do you focus on only individuals, or do you also focus on uh, people from small businesses or some other activities that they're involved in?
Okay. Actually, I look them as a client. That's all. Like, I
Okay.
never look at them as like he's from a small business or he's like a big shot for me. No, client is client. Like uh, to if I elaborate that, like every child for the parents is same. Like when someone is coming to me for mentorship, I can't differentiate them that dude, you are from like a small business. I'm not going to share the bigger things to you because you are from low place. And yeah, because just because the other person has a huge money and huge background of business, I can't differentiate them. Clients are clients. So I look at with the same vision, and actually I don't even go so deep. When I'm in a call with my client, I'm only like, what is the trouble? Where is he from? I most of the time I don't even ask where is he from. The
Hmm.
things what I want to concentrate is, what are you into, what service are you into, what is the challenge, let's talk about
Hmm.
that. My
Hmm.
calls are only with these 3 4 questions, that's all. Like nothing
Hmm.
else, like does. And to be very frank, rest all thing doesn't even matter, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's how it is, like nothing
Hmm.
differentiating, it's
Okay.
one dimensional.
The other thing I just wanted to check was that you talk about uh, I understand that you work on click funnels, and there is work that you do around that space, right? Now, in that area, are you supporting clients to get more leads? Are you supporting small business to get more leads?
Okay, I don't help the user.
Hmm.
I help the developers.
Just
See,
elaborate on that.
okay, for example, I can't help someone who is using ClickFunnels. I may just advise them. I can't tell
Okay.
them to enroll in my system to learn how it works, because I'm not
Okay.
someone who is teaching you how to use that. But I
Okay.
am, my audience is like the person who is working at the back end, the
Hmm.
person who is building the system, who
Hmm.
is building the page on ClickFunnels. They are my
Hmm.
audience. I tell
Okay.
these guys how to get onto the clients,
Okay.
right? Because I'm no one to teach the end user how to do the business. He's just using a tool,
Hmm.
and there is some person who is helping them to set their business on that tool. But
Hmm.
this person who is building it, maybe knowing it, or he's facing some difficulties on how to get clients. So these are my targeted. I don't teach technical stuff. I teach them how to do your business, how to carry on with your clients. I tell this person to how to get clients, not the end user
Okay.
of any
Fair
tool
enough.
or
I understand that.
yeah.
Great. So I think that's your primary focus. And anything
Yes.
specific that you're aiming to do in the coming future? Anything new that you're focusing on? Anything that's in the pipeline for you that you want to talk about?
Okay, from business point of view, there are two things. One is like personal thought that is hitting my mind from many days, and I don't know when it is going to happen in reality. So I'll talk about both if it's okay. One is personal, one is about business.
Please, please.
So business, first of all, like as I said, I'm going to launch some more elaborated course of mine in a span of almost 15 days, right?
Hmm.
Where I'm going to help my audience, my targeted audience, in a deep manner, like freelancers who are funnel builders, or FB ads managers, social media managers, right? Make money online kind of people who are clear with their area, whom they want to target.
Hmm.
If the person is ready with the skill set, I'm going to make the journey more easier. Like
Hmm.
as I said, money is just standing at the door. You just need to
Hmm.
unlock it.
Hmm.
I'll help you to
Hmm.
find the right key. That's
Hmm.
my plan for business. And the
Okay.
second thought that is hitting me, right, that is completely from a humanity point of view. I don't know why this thought is hitting me from from many days. I want to, you know, feed at least one person stomach full every day. Every day. This thought is like really hitting me hard from many days, and I'm still capable of doing it. But I'm, there are some thoughts which are needed to be clear, and only a spiritual monk or a spiritual related person can help me to untie those knots. I can simply feed someone, but I need, you know, the the genuine person. I hope you got my point. This is
Yeah,
completely out of business,
yeah.
but
No, 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 no.
that's a
It's not.
No,
thought.
I think no. So something that the show and this conversation definitely stands for is that we are not one of the two. We we are a part of all of it put together. So it's your. I have always maintain that it's your personal life which will affect your professional life, will affect, and your professional choices will affect your personal life, and the circle goes on.
Yes.
So it's not either or for a lot of my experience that I say for. And the point that I wanted to also highlight that I have picked out during our conversation today is that in some of the most unexpected spaces do we find talent. And I want to specifically highlight this to people who will either hear us now or later, that we really are in a stage where digital helps us break conventional molds. So I'm hoping that a lot of people are listening and willing to make that choice, saying that it is the talent and it is the experience and it is the mindset and attitude that I need to hire, and not the CV or the college or what has been done. It's a tough ask, But I think the program that you are bringing around with the freelancers, hopefully we'll have more resource people who will make that change for a lot of businesses. So I hope businesses are more willing to take that choice. Of course, everybody loves their money and is very careful with spending it either as an individual or as a business. So there is no free money lying on the table for nobody, but
Exactly.
we all are willing to make an investment, and digital has helped us make that investment in places which are not conventionally where we look. So congratulations on what you do, Kushal. Last thoughts
Thank
and
you.
insights, Rajiv, unless I've skipped a question that
Yeah,
came to
no,
your
I
mind.
think I think I just want to sort of summarize my thoughts on the last part of the conversation here about what you also mentioned and what Kushal was referring to about personal and business, and all of them being intertwined into the life that we lead. And I just have one statement for that: that we're all leading a business of life. That's what we're living, by the way.
Perfect. Perfect.
So we do
Perfect.
the business of life actually, right? We don't do life alone, we do the business of life. Some people call it work, some people call it personal space, but end of the day, we're all in business. And that business is known as business of life.
That's really a great statement, Rajesh sir. And while you were talking about the other thing, two stories again hit my mind, which was again shared by my father,
Yeah.
and and the I bet you both the stories will make you think very really hard. One was like the point of viewing the situation. It depends, and it's all your mind playing game. And one is about choosing the thoughts. Like yesterday, if you I don't think we are not following each other on Facebook, but yesterday on my FB live, I go live regularly, daily, in night times, right, in evening times around between 8 to 10 on my FB profile. Yesterday I shared a story about Viktor Frankl. He was a Jewish guy. Hope I'm okay to share the story.
Please, please.
Sure, sure.
It was about Viktor Frankl. He was a Jewish neurologist and psychologist expert, right? And during the Second World War, when Mr. Hitler decided to, bring them down, he was throwing them, treating them as slaves, and throwing them in concentration cells. It was shared that they were not allowed to get clothes. They were separated from their families. Viktor Frankl was separated from his two daughters and wife. No one knows who is alive and who is dead by the evening or next day. He shared that they were made to walk for kilometers and long ways, miles, and the whole night. The life was, the every second was real tough. These are the challenges, and they were beaten, they were tortured. But one night, suddenly, Dr. Viktor Frankl thought of something, and that changed the moment within second. The choice of choosing the thoughts. There is one thing that no one can steal from us. That's your thought. They are your thoughts. No one, I can, someone can steal out my clothes. Someone can steal out all the jewelry from my body, the money out of my pocket, everything, everything. But not my thoughts, right? He chose to be happy right from that moment. Even the guards used to ask him, like, why is that we are torturing, and why is that you are smiling all this? And Dr. Victor is like, it's my choice. It's completely my choice. you know and he decided that when the war gets finished, I'm going to explain about this. And he wrote a book, the man search of meaning of life, meaning of life. Yeah, it's available in the maybe I just misspelled it, or mispronounced the name, but you can find the book in Amazon itself, the man search for meaning of life. He had explained everything in that. It's just thoughts. You
Yeah.
are in a depressed moment, you choose to be depressed. Even I have gone through that, and that makes sense. It just takes a moment, just to switch your mind,
Yeah.
swing your mood.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Absolutely. Absolutely right.
That's the one thing. And the second thing which you shared about weaving of point, once there was a person passing through the bank of river, and he suddenly saw a stone shining there. This was the second story, and I'm very eagerly sharing it. I hope everyone likes it. uh, the person lifted that, because we lift the as a human being, even you might have done that, I have done that. When we are at the river edge, we find some unique stones and we pick it up, bring our home, right? That's a human tendency. The same thing that person did, and he kept it at the entrance of the door. Few days later, what happened? His friend visited, who was a jeweler, and he said that the first person who had got that stone, he said that you are a jeweler, like, could you please tell me, I found this stone very odd, like not similar to the other stones, could you tell that what it is? He said, like, it's a kind of stone, you can get some $250 out of this. He said, like, okay, $250 doesn't make much sense, so he just kept it out in the drawer. Few months later, the stone was kept in the same drawer. His uncle from other country visited him, and he said, like, and again his uncle was a jeweler. He said that, hey uncle, I just few days back I was passing through, and I just got this stone. The uncle just polished it and say, son, you don't believe, this is a stone worth more than $2 billion. He was like, what? And look at this, what happened. The moment where he just took the stone, kept it in a clean cloth, he just packed it off and kept it in the cupboard. The difference is just weaving. The first person came and said that it's just $250. The angle changed. Oh God, like who is going to trouble for just $250? The moment their uncle said that it's more than $2 billion, the perception changed completely. He's like, God, it's like I'm rich in a just moment. Another thoughts changes. So we are made to think this way. Like, we have to think straight when the challenge comes. There are always two sides of the coin. Like, there is nothing coin like from a Sholay movie, always head tails on the both sides. you know there is always head and tails. The choice is all us, how we choose to be happy or sad. That's all.
So that's great insight. Rajiv, any closing remarks? At least my closing remarks are that we have choices to make. But my more important closing remark would be to encourage people to look beyond the traditional glasses and find talent in
Yes.
places, because it just simply makes sense to look at places which you haven't considered so far. We're a large country with a lot of people, and some people like Kushal are making an excellent effort to make more people scale up, gather the skill, also gather the integrity along with that skill. So, congratulations to you and God bless for what you do. Rajiv, your closing
Thanks a lot.
remarks.
No, I completely sort of resonate that. And to that effect, I think my closing point remarks would just be that challenges and what appear to be difficulties in the journey uh, are all in the mind,
Perfect.
right? And here is a living example of Kushal, who's choosing to own his future despite and in spite whatever is around him. And I think that's an encouragement, that's an inspiration, which I think so people must sort of take from. Um, Whether it's a visual challenge, whether it is the challenges of not having work during a period of time, or whether it are challenges of having to shift from a job to helping his father in his business to doing something on his own. Each time a new chapter opened, and each time there's one thing that is common that happened, that he chose to own his future. And on
Exactly.
that note, I think there's so much to take from here, and so much to sort of for people to look at. I wish you all the luck, Kushal, and I'm sure this is
Thank
one of the first of our conversations as we keep engaging in knowing each other further. All the
Perfect.
best to you in all you do
Thank
in
you.
your life.
Thank you very much, and it was my pleasure
God
to
bless.
be with you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll
Thanks a lot.
close the broadcast. Thank you for your closing remarks.